Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm featuring horror. I'm having a horror week. I'm not sure why, but I think it's a sort of personal revolt against being stuck in front of a computer for days and days editing music, which actually has turned out to be one of the most boring things ever. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy writing the track. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy actually putting down the music, but the editing. And do you know what? The published version is not, I'm not happy with it, but it's, it's already gone out and distributed. And I just think, I actually can't be bothered. I think I needed to get back to my sort of roots, really, with music, which I've always wanted to do film music. That's, or storytelling music. That's why I went to university and studied music back in the day. That was my dream. And the stories that music tell are, the intrinsic sort of purpose behind creating music. I don't want to do pop music. I don't even like, I don't even listen to pop music. So I think I felt a little bit restrained because I'd said to myself, right, I need to make more commercial stuff. I mean, I don't know why I'd said that. Well, I think just because I'm spending this sort of 4-month period trying to really establish the brand that is the Telltale Club. But the music that the Telltale Club makes is so diverse, and I don't want to lose that. But my business model relies on the literature, the books that I write, the stories that I tell. That's part of the business model. So the music doesn't really work without it. So I was sort of thinking about all this, and I thought, well, not only did I lose my way a little bit trying to edit this into a format that is more consumable by more people, I really didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was hell on earth, actually. And the reason is that when you start making things for a different type of audience, I've done lots of things over the last few years. I've made music for special effects. I've made music, my biggest genre of created music is, of course, the Rife vibes, which embed frequencies for healing. So I think I've got about 50 or 53 tracks. I've got a lot of tracks. So that's by far and away my biggest genre. But actually, still, when you Google the Telltale Club music, it still comes up with my tracks for Immersion, the Book of Immersion, which is really nice. I mean, I think that's, I don't know, is that because more people listen to that? I'm not sure why. I haven't really studied in fine detail the revenue sheets. I haven't got around to that yet. So yeah, just hated it. So now I'm feeling rebellious. And for me, rebellion is writing rude poetry by the Marchioness of Dorchester, which is just hilarious, comedic. Also tells a story, of course, about this poor woman who just doesn't get enough sex, is trapped in sort of the 1650s. It's not that she doesn't get enough of it because people are telling her she shouldn't. It's just because she literally cannot get enough of it. There aren't enough men around. She's obviously addicted. But it's very comedic. It's very funny. And also the horror. I really enjoyed doing the horror short stories. So I'm going to spend this week sharing some horror stuff from the public domain. So I've got a lovely audio book, or what's it called? Supernatural Horror in Literature. And that's by H.P. Lovecraft, who, of course, is, one of the most probably famous horror writers of his time. So that's an introduction, really, to his work. And I've written an essay as well on the first chapter 1. So you can read that on the blog and on Spreaker. And that just gives you a sort of valuable introduction to Lovecraft's importance in the whole horror movement, right? But I want to write some horror this week as well. So I'll start off probably with a poem in a minute, as soon as I finish these podcasts. Now, for the Telltale Club Academy podcast, my other podcast, I'm doing a couple of books at the moment. So I think I'll do 2 at a time rather than put them all up, because nobody's going to have, in one day, nobody's going to have enough time to listen, I doubt, to all of them in one day. So I'll just put 2 or 3 up of each book. So it's The Automobile Girls, and I can't remember what the other one is now, but more suited, I think, to an all-encompassing audience, so not quite so niche. So I'll keep the horror and adult stuff in the public domain, that is, for this blog. This podcast, and then the more general sort of and also young adult orientated stuff for the Telltale Club Academy podcast. So that's that sorted. So I'm just feeling, it's funny, isn't it? Because some days I get so sick of just listing books and writing, and yet today I can't wait to get into it, and that's the importance, I think, of diversifying if you're an artist and not doing the same thing all the time, because you can send you into a madness, you know, it really can. So, yeah, and I quite like to do short stories and do the music for them. I think that might be a really exciting way for me to create my music and have it listened to and heard, without having to be so, you know, deathly commercial, or what I perceive is commercial, you know, the sort of twee rhyming, traditional sort of key movements, progressions. I have it in my mind that that's what would be more commercial, and you sort of get led by it somehow. But actually, you know, I'm not a commercial musician, so I don't even know why I was trying, but I just wanted to have a go at it. That's not to say I don't love the song. I really love the song, and I really love the words. But I do think there was something that made it more ordinary in the way that I produced the track. I mean, you might not agree, but it felt a bit ordinaire by the time I'd finished it all. So, and I really like sound effects as well. I like playing around with sound effects. So I like shoving, you know, bullet shots and things like that into my work. And I remember doing a piece called Trouble in the Jungle, and I put all sorts in there. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it. And no, it's not the sort of thing you'd listen to in your car. I think that's what I envisage when I'm creating a piece of music that I want to be popular, or rather more popular than some of the other stuff I've done. I envisage somebody who doesn't know me or my work coming across it and playing it in their car, and I try and make it palatable for them, and that's really not quite what I should be doing, I don't think. I mean, I might just be feeling like that today. I don't know, because I really got very stressed out in the production side of things yesterday, incredibly stressed out. Now, what I really want to do is for people to go to my website, to go into each chapter, and to be able to press a button and to be able to play the music that goes with that chapter. So the soundtrack, which I can do. No, I can't. Yes, I can. God, I'm feeling so doolally. So what I can do is on each chapter, you see, I can embed the code for the YouTube track. And I can write above it, play this track for the backing music to this chapter. Do you see what I mean? And then, of course, the songs that are the musical element, as in, you know, traditional sort of West End musical style. I mean, they're not, because they're quite unusual. But, you know, that's I do feel like that. I feel like when my characters are being imagined by the reader, these songs, you would imagine that they would sing. That's the point. So I'm really thinking very hard about, you know, going back to each chapter and making that more feasible on my blog. So the main blog, which is estherlemare.blogspot.com, and also eventually all the chapters of Volume 1 will be on one page at the Telltale Club, on a single page. So if you wanted to read the whole book in the whole volume in one fell swoop, you could do that. So yeah, I'm feeling quite organised, I think, and I quite like that about myself, because it's not something that I do well. Being organised is something that comes at the end of chaos. So I'll have, and I guess, if you're an artist, perhaps you recognise this. There is chaos in your head as you're trying, you're in the mania and you're trying to get it all out onto the paper or, whatever, your digital pad or whatever it is you use. You've got to get it out. You've got to get all these ideas. I use a notebook for writing the songs. And then afterwards there's some sort of, there's an eruption of ideas and a conclusion as the eruption finishes, and then you're back to sort of normality, and that's the point where I sort of get the Hoover out, do the washing up, because it may not have been done properly for 3 days, because when I'm I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in the thick of it, nothing else matters. I usually lose weight in the 3 days of mania, creative mania. I usually, I can actually tell that hello darling, come on, where have you been? I can actually tell that I'm a little bit thinner, So I think I forget to eat. Yesterday it was 7:00 and I hadn't eaten. And I was just so hell-bent on sort of solving all these problems that I was having in the edit of this piece of music. But it really isn't something I enjoy. It really isn't. And this is the other thing. Editing is such an important part of all things. But I'll tell you what else I'm doing. I'm doing on the Vimeo channel, the Academy of Arts, I'm going over how to use Midjourney and how to draw with a digital pen. I popped up 3 videos last night, and it's just a really good way. I don't have to edit it. I just literally I hold my phone and film what I'm doing for 5 minutes or so. It's great for me, and you'll be able to see how my work kind of comes together, and we can have a chat about it. Well, obviously it's a monologue, but you can listen, or you can just shut me up and just watch if you wanted. So what I'll do with all of those at the end of this painting that I'm doing, which is the first of the Temptations, well, actually it's the second, I will speed all the videos up and make them into one film. Do you see what I mean? And you'll be able to see the development of the entire piece, which is great fun, isn't it? Really good fun. Now, I'm a drawer. I draw. I love drawing. I do it a lot. And I like the tip of my pen to be the functioning tool, whether it's on a digital pad, as I do, or on a piece of paper. But I've become quite expert, I think. I feel I've become quite more expert using my digital pen. And when I say expert, I don't mean producing perfect things. I mean producing in the manner that I feel I would have produced on a piece of paper. So we're talking about stylistic perfection, which is, it's about me as the artist, and I'm happy. You can make stuff which other people are happy with, which is, where I've come a cropper with the editing on the music this week or this weekend. But if you're not producing stuff that you really like and you're utterly proud of, unfortunately you're going to be miserable as sin. So what's the point, So pop over to Vimeo, on demand /iServerland, and that's the Academy of Arts TV show, and I'm going to be uploading every day from now on. So how cool is that? Great fun, I think. And of course the blog with all of the chapters, the chapters are doing very well. People are starting to read the book, guys. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. People are finding it, because half the battle was finding it. Of course, I've been putting all the links on each episode, and that means that people can read one episode and go and find the other easily. It's a doddle. So, oh, you're purring so loudly. He's right by the microphone. I don't know if you heard that. How funny. I do love him. Mummy loves you, baby. Right, I'm going to get my porridge and my coffee. So I'll be back later on, or check me over on the other podcast in a minute. Much love from a very exhausted artist.